Welcome into Season 3 of the Young Dad Podcast, presented by Ballboy Media. The Young Dad Podcast is hosted by the Young brothers, Jey and Aaron. And so you know it's about that time to pull up a chair, don't forget your juice box, don't forget your snack, and come and talk with us. What up, my brother?
What is going on, my man?
Bro, it's been a hot minute since it was just you and me. About 3 months, to be exact.
Yes, sir. We've been quite busy.
We have a lot to catch y'all up on. We have plenty to talk about. The last time that you and I did a solo episode that was just you and I and all of the people listening was episode 20. That was published on February 28th.
Yeah, we've been growing our networks of dads, and we've just been trying to get out and get as much content for you guys as we can.
I know, it's been super fun, and we've had some great conversations along the way. We had the Unstoppable Dad, Matt Noonan. We had Coach Daniel Simone, so a couple of our Aussie blokes. We had Nick from the Dadding Greatly page on Instagram. We had Brian from Modern Husbands on. Let's see, who else did we have? We've had plenty. We brought back the interview we did with Brad, host of Baseball Together podcast. We talked to Brad, another Brad, six-figure dad Brad, Adair. We talked to Kyle Carnahan from Superhuman Fathers. We talked to the one, the only, the legend herself, Dawn Brody, host of Health History I'd Like to Expurlative. And then we ended season 2 and we kicked off season 3, which is where we're at right now. We've talked to Mr. Anthony Ray from Dad Can We Talk. We've talked to Aaron Jones from the Divorcee Dish. We've talked to the Good Bad Dad, Toby Walsh. We talked to Brock Lush from Home Dad Chat. And then last week, we chatted with John McKellenhenny. I am really bad at saying his last name, but he's the author of the Whole Parent blog itself. So a lot of great stuff has happened. The Well Balanced Dad Diet launched during season 3 as well. We've been keeping up with that. That's about halfway through it. Since we're about halfway through season 3, those things kind of line up. So it's been a crazy 3 months, whatever you want to look at it. It's been crazy. A lot's been happening. What's been going on in your life, sir?
Yeah, just a quick sidebar before we get this kicked off. I want to give a huge shout out to my brother Jewel for keeping us going. My life's been crazy a little bit. We've been going through a lot of big life events recently. So
a lot of big life events.
Yeah. So I want to give a huge shout out to you, brother, for keeping us pumping.
I appreciate that, brother.
Studio audience, can we get a round of applause, please?
Let's see. Can the audience give a round of applause, please?
Not all at once. No.
There they go. I don't think they thought you were serious there, so I'm glad we got them on the same page there. But also, another hoop holler cheer. We are over 27,000 downloads between all the podcasting platforms. And we're over the 50 episode threshold as well. So like 70% of podcasts or more don't make it past 10. And then of that remaining 30%, like 80% don't make it past 15. So the fact that we've been able to go for 54, 55, including this one, incredible. And we have so many more lined up. We have a list upon list of guests. And like you were saying, brother, the Dad Network is crazy. So it's pretty exciting stuff out there. Oh, a little delayed, but thank you.
Yeah, we're trying our best to get you guys as much info and, as much outreach as we can. There's a lot of great dads out there doing awesome stuff, and we just want to expose you guys to that and get as much help out there as we can. But as far as Jay was talking about, recently I did have my son. As you heard earlier in the podcast, my wife was pregnant.
Oh, I
Um,
thought we went to Vegas. I thought that was the big life update.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we did that too. Jewel and I met for
Yeah,
the first time ever.
first time
Um,
ever, which is hard to believe, but
yeah, so
it
so that
happened.
happened. That was the weekend of my daughter's birthday, and then a week later, I had my son, and then yeah, so it's just been a crazy couple months this past couple months, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, it was literally within a week of us getting back home from Vegas that you called me, and I was like, "What do you want?" No, I ignored your call like twice because I was like, "Why are you calling me? Like, get to work." Um, I thought you wanted to chat, and you're like, "Baby time," and I was like, "No, it's not. You're lying to me." But you weren't lying.
No, no, I wasn't.
It was
But
real.
yeah, we're back in the saddle, you guys. Please make sure you let us know what you guys are wanting to hear, what you guys are wanting to talk about. Give us some subjects down in the chat, and let us know what you want us to do.
Exactly. And we have a ton of people we want to bring on, a bunch of dads. I mean, they range from, there's so many great dad casts out there. There's like a network of dad casts out there. And there's some we haven't talked to, like Village Wisdom. Those guys are great. Dad Vibes Pod, they're a new podcast. They're really funny, a couple of really good dudes. We have some other kind of topics as well that we want to kind of possibly look into. Well Fuel, the Well Fuel podcast with a gastroenterologist, however you say that, a tummy doctor, I guess. She's really insightful. Her podcast is really, really good. A couple of doctors, behavioral things, and other podcasts that we want to just sit down with and talk with. So definitely, if you have a favorite dadcast, let us know so we can connect with them, or maybe we already connected with them in the past. So 100%, let us know. But outside of that, dude, what's it been like for you having kind of starting over? I mean, your youngest kid is 3, so you were kind of out of the whole baby stage and you were living a happy-go-lucky life. What's it been like, kind of going and resetting?
Yeah, the restart's been pretty rough. This go around, it's been all right. My son's been cooperating, and he's adjusting nicely to our schedules, and we're more fitting around him actually. But yeah, with God's blessing, everything's been going good, and I hope everything stays that way. But a big shout out to my wife as well. My wife's recovering greatly. She's doing the mom thing. I know we preach a lot here about dad, 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 but this that's a the other big half to life. Is my kid's mom, and she's been knocking it out of the park. So just a big shout out to her.
Facts, 100%. Moms are so important. I mean, granted, neither of us were raised with our biological mother, since we share the same biological mother. We neither of us were raised by her, so we definitely recognize the value of women who step up. We recognize the value of just good moms. There's a lot of good moms out there. There's also a lot of bad moms. Um,
Yeah,
but
and when Joel says that, don't feel bad. Don't pity us, because we got great mothers that
we were very
stepped into our
blessed.
lives, and I can't tell you the amount of love and care I've received, and I'm sure Joel has, from
Oh,
these women that were
100%.
in those roles for our lives. It's just a huge factor for us.
100%. And it's interesting because we kind of had like a collective role for like the mother figure in our life, between like grandmas and aunts, and for me, my stepmother. There's, and then there's like best friends' moms who I was just like really close to them and just like really saw them as like a solid like female role model and mother figure. It's definitely very blessed. We got to have multiple mother figures, and we got to have more than just one, which is super cool. Not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can say they even have one. So we're very blessed there. We're very, very blessed.
Yeah, dude, and it's like when you get touched by all the hands in the village, it really does bring you up and uprise you really well. And so we're just so lucky. Shout out to all those people. I'm sure I'm sure not many of them are listening to this, but without you, we wouldn't be here. and we appreciate all that you do for us.
100%. I know we do got some family that listens and supports us with the viewership. So they're our most loyal audience. Outside of a couple people, I'm sure we both have other people that we're really close to that support us. So we have a great network. Like we're saying, we cannot echo that enough. Like the network that we've built through the podcast has been incredible. Like I personally have handled most of the like interactions and the talking and the setting it up, and then like the conversations after with most of our guests. Well, all of them actually, but um, it's been awesome. There's like some really just cool people. Like it doesn't matter like how big their podcast is or how small ours might be in comparison, or vice versa, wherever it's at. Like Kyle, for instance, from Superhuman Fathers, took his time for an hour to sit down and chat with us, and he runs a multi-million-dollar business. You know, and then Aaron or Dawn from Hilf has this huge podcast as a comedian, just a great mom in her own right in regard as well. And then you have Aaron from the Divorcee Dish, just to name a few. Like Aaron's a whole freaking CEO, like business owner, and she took the time to sit down and chat with me and have that conversation about divorce and dive into a bunch of different topics there. So it's just like we're so blessed and we're so lucky. Like it's really cool to sit down and reflect on it, of like where we started, just those first 10, 15 episodes where it was just you and I, to now we have like people every single week lined up for the next several months to keep us going, and there's no shortage after that. And it's just really cool. New people find us all the time, and we're making new connections every day. So we definitely appreciate everyone being there. It's super fun. We appreciate you guys being along for the ride.
Yeah, and I really can't stress it enough. You guys, please give us your input and let us know what it is you want to hear and what you want us to talk about, the type of people you would want us to reach out to, because we've got a lot planned for this season and the coming up season. We're really doubling down and trying to invest a lot into this podcast. So we need your feedback, and in order for us to grow, we just really need that engagement.
100%. And even on top of that, we definitely want more like topics that we can add to the website. We want to add more to the website as well, more blogs, more short form blogs, things like that are just really easy to crank out and to get out. So it's a lot of fun. And then make sure you engage in our Instagram, because everyone we've talked to we follow. So you can go and follow them and talk to them, or everyone we might be talking to is also on there as well. So all right, enough about that. So you've restarted. You started over. He's adjusting well. What's been like the most challenging part for you, kind of getting back into the phase, and then knowing that you have a son now versus a girl? What are kind of some of your thoughts and stuff that you've had?
Yeah, it's just been really adjusting to not being able to have my own schedule. I had my girls worked in pretty well to my schedule, and we're still able to incorporate their things and, really plan, but it's like now everything gets thrown for a loop and we're all centered around him. But it's been a blessing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been awesome. And, as far as him being a son, I am very excited for that, but at the same time, I'm so blessed that I had a healthy. My wife gave birth with no complications. My son was born with no complications. That's my biggest thing I'm so grateful for. I know, just while we were in the hospital, I was able to see a couple of women that weren't so fortunate, and just, I'm just been so grateful, and I just can't give enough glory to God for that.
100%. It's definitely something like thinking about it, because maybe someday, everything permitting, maybe I'm back in that same boat. And, that's all you really want at the end of the day. You hear so many stories. There's so many just open dads out there on these different dad casts, like in our dadcast network, that are just like, that talk about that side of it for the man. And, motherhood podcasts also talk about it for the women and stuff. It's both sides are there, the negative and the positive, for those situations, that for the couples that aren't so lucky, that don't get to leave a hospital with a baby, or where their baby's in the NICU for a long stretch, or whatever the situation might be. But when you actually just end up having a healthy baby, no complications or anything like that, or even minor complications, you're like that's all that matters is he's home, he's healthy, we're all doing good. 100% can agree there. So for your girls, for the older two, how have they adjusted to having a baby?
Um, Surprisingly, very, very well. And it's something intentional that my wife and I have done is to give them possession of him. So that's your little brother. That's what we like to encourage a lot. You have to do X for your little brother, or can you help mom with X for your little brother? And they really love taking ownership, not ownership, but having that role and responsibility over him. And it's just been awesome. Even the younger one, I thought we were going to have the worst time trying to incorporate her, but it's actually been quite the opposite. She's been the one that loves helping and loves being there, and just loves being there for baby brother.
I love that, and I definitely thought the same with her. I thought it was going to be, I thought you were just going to be in for it with that one.
Yeah,
And that's it. That was just my
she's
behavioral. That was just my background, like behavioral health talking.
yeah, no, she's definitely glued to my wife's hip. So it was kind of a test in the waters moment when we came home. Like, she could be all right. She, but yeah, and another thing that I've become aware of through a lot of the resources that we've gotten from the hospital is just like, it's there's a lot of resource for incorporating your kids. Like, there's a lot of programs to help you learn how to do that with your kids. And it's actually a
Hmm.
big problem for some people when they go home and their kids feel neglected, and they end up wanting to cause harm to the baby. And it's been
Yeah,
crazy to read up and just go through the psychology side of it. And it's a staggering thing that not too many people really think about.
yeah, 100%. I don't think enough people think about that, and that's a part that low key kind of scares me if I'm ever back in that situation. Maybe not if, like when I'm back in that situation, because I definitely want I feel like there's like one more out there. Maybe it's just the baby fever from seeing the baby posted all over your guys' pages and social medias and whatnot. It could be that talking. Okay. If it's that, cool. But if and when that time comes, that like low key scares me. Because like all of yours are the same mom, same dad, same household, they're all around each other all the time. But for me, they're gonna be around that baby half the time, and then not like half the time. So that bond is gonna be kind of like hit or miss. And it's like, how
Yeah,
am I gonna be like because I have this new baby, and but I also have my first two kids that are right here in front of me, that I'm
no,
only with
I
half the time. Like, you know what I
I
mean?
definitely get it, but it's just a testament to what we really preach here, and it's just being there. That's 100% of the battle. You can never be the perfect parent, but the best you can do is just be there. And
Yeah,
if that's what it is. And sometimes you spread yourself too thin, and you burn through, and it's a rough day, but it's all right. You rest up, you get ready for the next day, and you deal with it head on. It's there's no days off for you as a parent. Your child's looking to you to be the example, to do everything. So it's
100%.
really, how bad do you want it, and how bad do you want to bring them up, and what exactly is the kind of life you want to give for them.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something we've talked about a bunch of times, like you mentioned. It's just being there, being present. But there are going to be those days where you just feel like you're spread too thin, which is why it's so important to take care of yourself. An empty cup can't pour into an empty cup. You have to do those things for yourself. You have to take that time for yourself. You have to have your thing that you do. Also, your partner, she also have the thing that she does. Um, Especially with a new baby, having that time to kind of get away, even if it's just her running errands for a half hour or an hour, whatever. by herself. I was listening to, was it Modern? I think I was listening to Modern Husbands actually recently, and they were talking about this with their guest. She was super insightful. She had a whole book about it, but it's so important, especially for that first kid or having the two kids, or every time there's a new kid added into the mix, that both parents have that time alone with the child. So, the other person gets a break and can go and do something for themselves, take care of themselves, whether it's like going to the gym or running errands, just having that alone time, but also for whoever is then at home with the kids so that they can figure out how to do everything by themselves.
Yeah,
And
no,
I just thought that
and
was,
that ties into a facet of the well balanced dad diet. It's
mm-hmm.
just you're constantly having to adjust. There's no set timing for anything. You gotta figure out what works for you, and then coordinate with your spouse or your partner or whatever your situation is, and figure out what you guys have to do to empower each other. And in someone like your case, like your kids don't even need to be newborn for you to have to deal with that. You know what I mean? You're constantly having to co-parent and figure out their lives together. It's and by the way, you've been doing a great job at it. Every time I call Jewel, he's always, "Oh yeah, we're here at the kids this or we're doing that." And I feel for you sometimes because we talk about this all the times. Like,
yeah.
dude, I don't know how you do it. Like, I have
And
a wife that helps out a lot, and I still
yeah,
struggle. So I mean, having to keep your own house up, having to manage your finances, having to watch over your children, having stack everything on top of that plate. It's rough. So I do commend you. I do just want to shout out you.
have to. No, I appreciate that, man. And it definitely wasn't always like that. Where that where I was like just very begrudgingly to even be open to doing something like for the kids, like with my ex-wife and her new husband. It's always been. I didn't even used to call him that. Like actually recognize him as like her now husband. Um, and it just took a lot of inner work. It took a lot of just inner reflection and things like that. But time goes on, life changes, and life goes on, and we all grow. You realize, oh, it's really not as big of a deal as maybe it was, or maybe I was, too much or whatever. You reflect and you see where you had your shortcomings and you forgive yourself. You move on, but it's so important to just be able to stop and recognize that. And I've been seeing it a lot, kind of all over like social medias and stuff. Just like the how do I explain it? Like the divide for like dads when it comes to trying to win at co-parenting or trying to win in a battle with their baby mamas or ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or whatever the title was or is, where it's just like it's rarely benefiting the kid. And I think that's what's always really helped propel me to try to be like a really good co-parent, because I just always try to just keep like the best interest of the kids at heart. Because this, I probably could have taken and tried to get full custody from the bat, but what good would that have done the kids? And like really, where was the best interest at that time? And just all these other things where it's like the best interest of the kid isn't being met whatsoever. It's more like, oh, I need to win against her. And that's what there's a really negative stigma around like moms. I saw this post that said some kids are fatherless because the mom wanted to prove a point. And it's true, but it's also the other side of that too. Some kids are motherless because the dad wanted to prove a point and flex and just win and feel better about himself. I mean, that's not the point.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think our generation is doing a lot better at that. I myself do know quite a few people who are single parents, and it's been amazing to see people co-parent with, and of course I don't know what goes on behind doors, but for the most part, still do things together. They're still able to, you know, keep it cordial and support the kid, and really that's the big thing. I think that's changing in our generation. There's no more I mean, it's still there, but just not as much as the previous generations has to deal with, but just the spiteful ex, you know what I mean, that just wants to take away
Mm,
everything. And I feel like that's done, man. Like, we've learned that that helps no one. And so for us to
yeah,
coexist and be able to be there for the child and just boost them into the light, that's everything.
100%. I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I feel like a lot of these men that are posting that know that, but at the same time, they're still hurting. They're still grieving. They're still processing kind of what happened to them, and they're trying to, I guess, extract that revenge to feel better when they're really missing. They're not having any kind of like big picture thinking. They're very short term and just kind of getting the gain, kind of saying, haha, F you, I won, whatever. But ultimately, like, what are you winning? As what I want to comment on so many of those posts. Like, who does this benefit? Like, granted, yes, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, 100%, but you can know what's going on behind closed doors when people are posting screenshots of their conversations onto a dad's group on Facebook or multiple dad's groups on Facebook. And it's really disheartening because it's like, are you not able to just, take this for what it is and accept it? Like, yeah, it sucks. She's, not doing her part as a parent, but like, what satisfaction do you get from posting in a dad's group? Because I thought about doing that a bunch of times. I wanted to. I never did. I could have. But again, like, what do you get out of that? What does someone get out of that? And I think you're right. We are doing a lot, especially like this. Our network of dadcasters are all doing a lot to kind of bust a lot of those stigmas, to where there's a lot more dadvocating and things like that to kind of propel us forward into moving past that. But it's still very, very real. Like, it's so real. Like, I saw 5 posts today about it.
Yeah, and and another thing that we have to touch on, it's been a subject in our recent conversations as well too, but you know, trying to reshape the world for our kids, and just the all the turmoil that's going on right now in the US, and our way of life is getting flipped on its head. And and it's not to say that one party's messing everything up, or that somebody's beliefs don't mean anything. That's 100% not what we mean when we say that. We just want the chance for our kids to grow up and not be indoctrinated, not be forced to do something that they don't like, and it's just something that I'm very um passionate about. And I've been looking into getting just a foot in the local school board, and just trying to, I don't even know what it is that I want, but I do know that what is being pushed now, it's not it. And
Yeah.
that's the whole goal of this network, is to get all the like-minded people together and figure out what it is we want, because what's rolling out now, it's not it. it's not it's not going to benefit our next generation.
No, not at all. And, I saw this like kind of like satire kind of TikTok today, just for a moment. And it was like, who are you voting for? And I was like, went through like Biden and Trump and just like the whole everything going on, especially with the indictment hearings and everything. And the dude ended up making a sticker that just said, whoever's younger, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people realize, like, especially our generation, like, probably like 24 to like 45, like that age range, more or less, like, really realizes, like, we are stuck in an old way of thinking. I really don't think like the younger, like 18 to 24, really gets it or realizes it or cares. They just want the perks of whatever people say they're going to do, and they're just going to fall in line with whoever gives them the best perks. Um, but outside of that, like we realize, like we need to get rid of this old, like we need to get out with the old, in with the new. Like you're going to get your benefits, you already have your pockets lined. Like get out, like you're good. Like let's actually get some people who are um, going to come in and make a positive change, a positive impact. And I was at the gym actually today, and I was watching. I was like had the um, TV up on the elliptical that I was on, and I was like, well, I ended up watching Fox, and I'm like, I don't know why, I just like caught my eye. And we all know that CNN, Fox, they're both biased toward their wing or whatever. But they had and I had never heard of this guy until like today, but um Vivek Ramaswamy, a dude who's running his party's Republican, but really he said that like his take on it was, I just want this figured out just to get past it. And what I want to do, I'm just bringing clarity. Like he spoke on both CNN, he spoke on Fox, like he's speaking on all the major networks, the political networks, with the same stance and the same message across all of them. He's like, I just want the truth to come out about both sides. I want the Trump files to come out. I want the Biden Twitter files to come out. All of it. And he's like, because that's what matters. That's what people want. Like people want just honesty and transparency. And people want like out with the old, in with the new. And he's like, that's my commitment, is to get people who are gonna be like in and transparent and honest and like really help bring this country back to what it was. And like he was campaigning, but like he was really more talking about like the issue, but he was campaigning through it. So looking him up, like he's 37, dude. He's 37. He went to Harvard, he went to Yale, he went to Yale Law School. Like pretty legit dude. And the
Yeah,
sad thing is, I was looking him up, and he's I want to say he's American, obviously, but he's not Caucasian, which sucks. But I feel like a lot of our country, especially in the Republican Party, is not going to be fans, unfortunately.
yeah, I'm not sure. This next election cycle is going to determine a lot of things for me, at least. If we can do away with the old archetype for who we're voting for, that'd be great. I don't want an out of touch old white man, or just old man in general in the
Yeah,
office.
no, no,
A
100% not.
nice middle-aged man with a good amount of experience, whether it be business, military. I don't know what we need, but
Yeah,
what we have now, it's not working.
it's not working,
And
and
like you
that's a lot of
said,
what he was talking about. Like he's like, what we have right now isn't working. Like it needs to change, and he's like, I'm gonna change it, kind of thing.
yeah, and in these past election cycles, we've been able to see, young people that we like, with good ideas. Like I remember, who was it, the last Democratic primaries, like Andrew Yang, Tulsi Gabbard, just like really young people that have great ideas. But,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, like you said, they're not Caucasian. They're not of a certain background. So they just get swept when it comes to, winning that primary and getting a shot to debate.
Yeah, and
But
I don't feel like that's gonna happen this
yeah,
next
no,
election cycle.
I definitely feel like it's starting to turn, but at the same time, I just know the way this country works and how the system is set up. It's like the money is what's behind everything, and it's going to be interesting to see how things work out this year.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But I don't want to spend too much time on politics.
Yeah,
But
no, and it's definitely not us, shunning, like what I was referring to earlier. It's not like the whole woke stuff that's going on, or the LGBTQ plus stuff. It's not, it's everything. It's not just
Hmm.
one particular thing. I'm just saying everything that's going on in this country is terrible. We
Yeah.
have
No,
no
and
pride as a country, and it sucks because I love this country so much, dude. My family was able to immigrate here in the 50s
hmm
and make a name for themselves, so for
hmm
that I'll forever be, you know, indebted to this country. And
yeah.
the
No.
opportunity that my kids have is all because of this country. So it just to
hmm
see the how much this country is in shambles right now. I hope we can turn it around, and I am hopeful. I see a lot of the young guys like us just trying to make a way for discourse. Trying to make a great effort. So we're
100%.
gonna see how things
100%.
go.
100%. I think, like you said, we're not trying to push an agenda one way or the other. Like, you vote how you're going to vote and for who you're going to vote for. You probably already have that decided if you're most people right now, and you can't wait for this election cycle or anything like that. Like, you can't wait, like most of us. But also, I think like I think there's just a lot more excitement around it being like, okay, maybe we actually do have a price to change. Like, we're all really tired of like gas prices being for a tank of unleaded being more expensive than a tank of diesel. You know, um, at least here that's the case, which is crazy. But we're not trying to push one way or another. There are some really good things that come out of like the like different agendas, like being woke or from the left or from the right. Like, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad that come from both sides. And of course, we're gonna remain transparent on it. We have our own personal feelings, and then we'll keep those as personal feelings and thoughts. We call those inside thoughts. But it's just important because this country is just really in shambles. Like, the world around us is literally crumbling um, around us every single day. It doesn't get any better; it gets worse. Which is why we do have to get involved. We do, especially as parents. There are things that we do want to do to make changes. Like, I was talking to you about it, how I wanted to take a certain career path because it was like probably my easiest route to making real change and making a difference. But even with our platform, we make a difference to 27,000 different times someone picked up the podcast and listened to it. We made a difference 27,000 different times, and for the next 27,000 more, you know, we'll continue to make a difference and have our voice there. But really, I think it, comes down to, it comes down to some very, very simple things that we're so oblivious to just as people. I think it comes down to having empathy toward each other, tolerance, and love. Like, that's it. I think if everyone had like a decent sense of those three things, the world would be a much, much, much better place in general.
Yeah, and this goes back to something we touched on. I can't remember how long ago this was, but just if you want to be that change, or if you want to see that change, you have to start locally.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to a small town not too long ago, and it's really helped me be able to see that, oh, change is attainable. Like, I just really have to dedicate myself to it. Like, I can
Yeah.
definitely get this small community to rally around me, and I can be that change. But it's just balancing everything out and waiting for the right time. I think it is going to take people like us to really set this country back to what it's all about. And it's just equal opportunity for everyone and everything. And it's something that we can teach our kids. It might not be our generation, but let's pass it on to our children. Let's create a better world for them.
100%. And I mean, that's what it comes down to. You got to do what you got to do to help make the world a better place for your kids, because that's all we want at the end of it. You know, and we can make that change locally. And we actually talked about this with Brock last time when he was on a couple weeks ago, just about like how important it is to start locally. Like you can make huge scale change by just starting a dad's group, bringing like-minded individuals together. Start with like meeting post, start a Facebook group, invite people you know, put flyers in churches and at like grocery stores on the boards, things like that. Super easy, super simple. One person comes, you're already you're already winning. No one comes, that's okay. Get back up and do it again. But it's all about just starting at that small scale. You got to start somewhere. Big changes aren't going to happen overnight, and the more you just make those small changes every day, the more like reach you're going to end up having at the end of it. So, and sidebar, which while we're here, the Denver Nuggets have won the NBA championship. So by the time you're listening to this, you probably would have already known that. But the Denver Nuggets won 4-1 series against the Heat, and Nikola Jokic was named the Finals MVP. Of course, I mean he averaged like 32 and 14. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Good time to be a Colorado sports fan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, I'm just so happy to be back here with you on the podcast, and I just want to let you guys know there are so many cool things that we've got going on for you guys coming up here soon. Um, there's a lot of workshops that we're working on now to try and engage more with you guys. So please look out for that and just engage with it. Just give us something back. We need some kind of signal to say, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
100%. Great segue there into just a couple final things that we've kind of had in the works and kind of things that we've started working on. With Father's Day coming in like a couple days, we recently became partners with Four Fathers Clothing. They're this amazing clothing brand. If you're following us on Instagram, which I don't know why you're not, you probably see me modeling the clothes. I look great in these polos. You will too. And I love the story behind Forefathers. I just want to share the inspiration. So it was when a group of dads felt torn about their fashion identities after becoming young fathers. Forefathers was born. They played sports and wore Jordan. So on one hand, they still felt fashionable and active. But on the other side, they were now dads and didn't believe their clothing reflected their passion of being dads. Thus, they started their quest to improve fatherhood clothing. So this is elevated dad clothing here. Forefathers set out to create dad clothing that is above and beyond so that it could keep up with dads who go above and beyond. Like yourself, myself, and all of our amazing dads that listen. Our team of dad designers set out to build performance clothing because there wasn't an existing line that represented dads in order to fit the dad lifestyle. They took their favorite dadisms and printed them on the best performing materials that fit our irresistible dad bods. Lastly, they created a community over clothing, which is kind of crazy to think about that there's a whole community just about clothing, but it's real. It's awesome. The Forefathers community is a place where you can ask questions, discuss your experiences, and form relationships that will make you a better father by bringing together dads from all over the world through clothing. Who would have thought? I know that the guys over here definitely didn't think about it. They're super fun to talk to. It's called the Database. It's a real place where fathers may gather to converse, exchange knowledge, give back, and unwind. Super great place. And with the Forefathers brand right now, through Father's Day, they have 20% off polos. On top of that, I'm 99% sure you're just going to have to go and see for yourself. Our discount stacks on top of that. So you can save even more and also support your favorite podcast at the same time. They have some really awesome designs, some of their dadisms, which I think is the coolest thing. Meat sweats, glazed over, turf dad, turf stripes, slice dad, beer me, happy camper, 5 o'clock somewhere, Lone Star, He Got Kids, Jamming Out, Holy Guacamole, Swim Lanes, Pizza Night, Golfing Dad, and there's so many more. There's only a few more. Dad Bod, Pop the Hood, Gone Fishing, Green Thumb, Veteran Dad, and DIY Dad. All of these designs, they're inspired, they're awesome, they're fun. I mean, I look great and I feel great. Like, trust me, you want to get some of these. And they have matching polos that you can get with your kids. It's just super fun. And they're good people that are behind the product. It's just dads. It's seriously just some dads that just wanted to make clothing that fit for them. And it's seriously incredible. You're going to want to head over and grab some. The link's going to be down in our show notes. And since this is releasing here in a couple of days, we're recording this on Monday. Should I announce it now, you think, Aaron? The thing? Should I announce it now?
Do it. Do the thing.
Do the thing. So if you're staying till the very, 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 very end, the thing is, I wrote a book. I wrote a whole freaking children's book, got it illustrated, and it's ready to become yours. Yes, I know, crazy. It's called A Baseball Game with Dad. The story and the passion behind it really just comes from a lot of stuff like this, to where I just really wanted to highlight how cool it is to be a dad. That's it. I want to highlight how much fun our kids have with us when we're spending time with them, when we're doing stuff together, when we're hanging out, when we're chilling, doing activities, and just how much fun kids have while doing that, and how appreciative they are of that same time. That book will be available to order on Father's Day, hence A Baseball Game with Dad. Timing all worked out, blessed, and I'm so excited to share it with the world and you guys. And huge shout out to you, Aaron, just for your support throughout the process, the writing process, the creative process, just throughout life in general. 100% couldn't do it without you. Definitely couldn't do it without my kids either. And I'm just super excited to get this out into the world. Couldn't do this without the support of so many people. And yeah, I think that's the thing. So Father's Day,
Yeah,
and the book's only $10.
yeah, you guys, and I know these are sponsorships, but this is really how we gain power and start to change our communities around us. We have to support our network. We have to get out and source things from our network that we would normally get from somewhere else. We gotta keep our money pulled in and our resources working for us. So yeah, hit those links and make sure you can allocate some support for us.
Yeah, so check that out. And the book, you've seen it. It features just so much diversity, variety of dads and whatnot. I am so thrilled with how it turned out, and just the overall product. And working with Forefathers has been amazing. Seriously, those guys are super fun. They're a great time. They're incredible. They're just incredible. Um, but yeah, anything else you got for the listeners at home? I mean, that's kind of everything new and going on. New baby in the picture. Um, I'm not just a single dad anymore. I'm in a relationship now, so that's kind of crazy to think about too. How to shamelessly plug that, because I know she listens loyally, so she's the best. But
Yeah, and like I've said a bunch this episode, we've got a bunch of stuff coming for you guys, even some merch, some 100% t-shirts.
yes, those are on there.
100%.
We're gonna figure that out. That's on the list. By season, give us through
3.
season 4. Give us through season 4. Season 4, we'll
Yeah,
have
we've
something
got a
at
lot of
some point
stuff
in there.
loaded up for you guys. I'm so grateful and so blessed to be back in the saddle. Everything's starting to settle, and we're getting ready to build up here. So We thank you guys for all your support. We love you guys, and let's keep growing this network. Let's make it big.
Love it. And until next week, we will be back with, next week we have a great guest. We have Jerome and Caitlin from Everyday Parents Podcast, which I was recently interviewed for. That episode is going to be releasing here in the next couple months. But we're having Caitlin and Jerome on our show, turning the tables. Love their podcast. If you haven't checked it out, go check out the Everyday Parents Pod. They're a lot of fun. Great couple that are just a lot of fun to talk to. So we're excited to have them next week. We'll hope you enjoy that. Make sure you go back, listen through the rest of season 3. We've been told that it's one of the best podcasts to binge during your daily commute. So a lot of great stuff has been shared, a lot of great wisdom, great conversation throughout season 3. And again, like Aaron said, we love you guys. A lot of great stuff coming. Hopefully we'll have a YDP tea here within the coming couple months. So stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss that release either. So, support the podcast, support Forefathers, buy the book, do all the things, click all the links, share, like, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. 5 stars are always helpful, and share with a friend. That's probably the best thing that you can do. Share with a friend, share with a dad you love, you care about. That's like, hey man, listen to this podcast. These dudes are hilarious. They're fun. They have great conversations. There's a little something in here for everyone. So, and yeah, go Mariners.
Go Red Sox, baby.
Something like that. Both our teams
Something like that.
Both our teams are, we don't got to talk about baseball.
Go America. There you go.
Go America. No, we don't. Yeah.
What do you mean, no?
Go America needs a rebrand. We'll rebrand that next time. Till next week. One more thing. We really hope that you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun to record. Before we head on out, you might remember Jason Brick, Safest Family on the Block. Well, he just had his book published. Blueprint, Safest Family on the Block Blueprint. It's amazing. I got an advance copy. It was great. But when he was on, and when we bring him on again, we're going to talk more about this. Last time he was on, Jason mentioned, and he mentioned about school shootings. It's a controversial topic. It's a hot button topic here in our United States that we live in. If you're living out and about, international, thank you for listening. Probably applies to you too. It could help. And, we realize it's a problem that's not going away. We figured someone should make a course so parents like us can learn how to keep our kids and help make our kids safer. Because, Congress isn't doing anything about it. Police and schools aren't doing much. So it's up to us. So Jason went ahead to build a course, and he's offering it to all of my listeners at a discount. You'll learn how to assess your school shooting plan, how to learn what your child is capable of in case of emergencies, and the best responses to different shootings in different schools, and how to talk with children about it without scaring them. It's a great course, and Jason's a good guy, so you know it's coming from a good source. And we're putting our voice behind it because we think it's a great, high-quality product. Use the coupon code YOUNGDADS, that's YOUNGDADS, and the link in the description, or head over to safestfamilyontheblock.com. Use it over there. Both are good at work. And you can thank us later, and we really hope you enjoy. And it's a great way that you can support your favorite podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. We sincerely appreciate you being here. We sincerely appreciate you listening all the way until the end. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sure had fun recording it. Make sure you head over to the website, ballboymedia.com. You'll be able to see all the amazing things we have going on, the projects, the podcast, the blogs, all the fun stuff we have going on over there. You can also check out that link tree in our description on every single episode. That takes you to our deals, to the website, to the podcast, and gives you all the ways to like, rate, and subscribe, and everything that you could want to do. Make sure that if you're listening on Spotify, you stop for a moment, go ahead and drop us those 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for me. Like the video, comment, and share. If you're on Apple, leave a 5-star rating and leave a review for us to read in our next show. Any other platform, make sure you rate, review, comment, and share the podcast with a friend. Because I know you have friends that you want to share this with. Lastly, make sure you go and follow us at Young Dad Pod on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. We cannot wait for all that's to come.